Most people are trying to change their lives by just changing their habits, but they never really update the system that runs those habits. So, what I wanted to do today is I wanted to introduce you to life's operating system. Now, this is an internal framework that I've kind of worked on, and it's kind of the foundation of how I build my business around. And what it does is it goes from your thoughts to your emotions to your actions. Because what you think about and the emotions that you attach to those thoughts, you begin to act like. And when you begin to lay this foundation in your life, that's when you're able to create that life that you want. But most of the time, we either are not thinking the right thoughts, we're not attaching our emotions to the right thoughts, or we're not doing the right actions because we haven't created the right pathway and the right foundation. So today I really wanted to just jump into what that's all about. And then in the end, I want to give you a little exercise that you can work on, because as I always say, there's no point in spending 5 to 10 minutes with me if I'm not going to give you a goal to work on or something to really work deep within yourself. So let's just jump straight into this. So why your system runs on old programming. First of all, every thought, belief, and reaction is a line of code. Now, this code is written by your past experiences, especially when we're under pressure from trauma, or we're at work on the job as first responders, or if you're not a first responder and you're actually just, dealing with a traumatic situation. This is when your life begins to kind of unwrap itself. And you go, okay, what are the experiences that I have in my past that I'm bringing forward into my life? So for example, your brain learned to kind of survive chaos, but then you're not relaxing at home, right? This old code just keeps running consciously and unconsciously. And it does it until you're updating yourself. And when you begin to update it and go, okay, I know my patterns. So what Tony Robbins says, life is patterns. And when you learn to recognize those patterns, that's when you can begin to create different patterns and have different outcomes. So you can't really install that new code until you've worked on your old programming. So what we want to do today is we want to really understand what that old could be. Now, most of the code that we think about, we don't think about. I want to say that again. Most of the code that we live our life through and we think about, we don't actually think about. Because 90% of our thoughts are similar to the ones we thought yesterday, right? They're recycled. We don't have any new thinking. We're just going through one path at a time. We're going, okay, what happened yesterday, the way I thought, I feel like I'm weak. I feel like I can't make it through this pressure. I can't push myself to the next limit. That's the thoughts we had yesterday. So what we need to do is we need to develop a new thought pattern, which creates, in the end, a new you, right? And when you don't purposely check on your system, you don't purposely go, okay, I need to rearrange my life. I know that the way I'm thinking, the emotions I'm attaching to those thinking, and the actions I take every single day are not moving me forward into that life I want to live. So what I need to do is I need to reassess. Right? We're taught that as first responders, we're taught to reassess situations. I know that in my field, I'm taught to reassess at all points. In the beginning, I get there, I assess the situation. I do a response option, I assess the situation. If that didn't work, I shifted into a different response option and then I assess the situation. So I'm always reassessing to make sure that I'm using the best response options to the situation that I'm in. But in my own life or in our own lives, do we actually take the time to go, okay, what I'm doing isn't working, so I need to shift it into something that is? And most of the time we don't. Because one, we're too tired from doing it all day long at work that we just want to veg in front of the TV and not think about rewriting our own lives. But when you don't check in on that operating system, it's going to run you. It's like when a pilot's flying and it sticks the plane on autopilot. It's going to get from point A to point B and it's not going to divert. But because I know that pilots set like a number and that's how autopilot set. I believe that's how it's set. You put in a number in the code and then you fly. What if the autopilot or the pilot was kind of maybe groggy one day and it put in instead of a 5, it put in a 6? Now that plane's going to go off course into a different direction because it's running the situation. And that's what our past has done. Our past has gone, okay, this is what you're doing. We're teaching you to react and not respond. We're teaching you to be hypervigilant all the time, on and off the job. We're teaching you that the triggers that are affecting you are going to affect you the whole time, right? So, for example, would be like when you wake up, you grab your phone, you scroll, you drink your coffee, you stress, you react, right? And it's all without intention. You need to begin to change your outcomes by taking back control. But you do it 1 degree at a time, right? You don't overbuild. Like most of the time people think I need to change my life fully. And I've been horrible at this. I'm like, I need to reassess my life. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my health. I'm going to work out 7 days a week. I'm going to drink 8 glasses of water. I'm going to make sure I run 5K while I'm at the gym, even though I haven't been in months. I have to do this. I'm going to incorporate this. And then I want to change my life in about 10 to 15 different ways. And what happens? Day one, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. And I don't change my life at all. You have to begin to do some micro shifts, just little small shifts in your life. An example, the best teaching point that I've always heard is that a farmer. So a farmer drives to the field, and every time he drives to the field, he does it the same way. So what it does is it creates ruts. And these ruts, he could probably just stick the tractor in automatic and make it to the field without even turning the wheel because the ruts are so deep. That's our life. We've created these patterns, these ruts that are just taking us from point A to point B out in the world and doing it over and over and over again. But all you have to do is you have to turn the thing a quarter of an inch. And just imagine if you do a 1% change every day, just one thing every day for the rest of the year, right? And we're in November 14th as I film this, but let's do a full year. Let's do 365 days. You're going to have 365% better or a difference in where you are today. You don't need to create this big life. I always say stacking, right? That's the best way to transform your life is to stack it. So you take 21 days. You take 21 days or 30 days to create a habit. And then 90 days it turns into lifestyle. So first 30 days, my friend, is you pick a habit. And then next month you pick a second habit as you're working on the first habit. Then the third month, which is 90 days, at the end of the 90 days, that first habit you've done has now created a lifestyle for you, and it's harder to break it. And then the second habit you're still working on, and then you begin a third habit or a fourth habit. And that's how you stack. That's how you create this. Because big changes feel impossible when your system's overwhelmed. But your brain responds to these tiny, consistent collaborations. It's a 1% shift. That small upgrade, that breath, the pause, this framework. It realigns your trajectory. And that's what we want to do, my friends. We want to slowly shift you so that your life is not full of chaos. Because as first responders, we already have chaos in our lives. We already feel overwhelmed by the work we do and helping the people we help. And then when it's like we get off work and it's like, okay, we have to work on ourselves. And we're like, I do not want to do that. So begin to work on these tiny shifts. And then the final part I want to talk about is just rewiring your thought daily through awareness. Awareness is what's going to change your life. Awareness is that dashboard light that tells you it's time to make adjustments. It's time to transform your life and change it into the one you want. And what you do is you catch the thought, you challenge it, and then you change it. Catch, challenge, change. And when you catch that thought and you go, okay, no, this isn't what I want to do. We're going to challenge what I'm thinking, and then we're going to change it into something more positive. And then naming it and creating it is where your life's going to shift. And every time you notice yourself running on that old code, you're already rewiring it. You're already setting in your mind, this is not where I want to be. This is not where I want to go. So what I want to do is give you that quick practical exercise. And what we're going to do is ask yourself this question. Start your day today, tomorrow, whatever it is. What system am I running on right now? reaction, or creation. And then spend some time and write it down. Choose one new action that supports creation. Create one new action that you want to do. What's one thing in your 4 quadrants, as Robin Sharma talks about? It's mindset, health set, soul set, and heart set, right? And each of these quadrants are what's controlling your life. So pick one area, right? And work on that. And pick one thing, just one thing, my friend, to do. And that's when your life's going to transform slowly but steadily. Now, if your mind is a command center, what's the system that's currently running? What's running your life? Is it your mind? Is it your emotions, or is it your actions? Are you based on survival mode, where you're just trying to make it through the day? Or are you in a thriving mode, where you're actually truly outliving your life and enjoying every moment? Because recovery, my friend, doesn't start with fixing what's broken, right? It starts with upgrading a system that runs you by taking control of that action and going, okay, look, I'm going to create my life because that's what's important to me. So my friends, try that exercise, see if it works for you. If it doesn't, great. If it does, great, right? Take what you can from this, create the life that you want one step at a time. And I look forward to seeing you next week, next Friday, on the next video.